Today on Locked On Red Wings, Detroit extends their win streak to 5 games, their longest of the season, in their impressive win over the Calgary Flames.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. I am a podcast producer for the Daily J, WWJ News Radio podcast. Check out the latest episode. I did it on the East Palestine train derailment in Ohio. And Scotty's a freelance journalist for the Detroit News, as well as the host of Locked On Tigers. And holy mackerel.
Check out my last episode. I did it on Eric Haas.
No one cares.
Oh, thanks, dude.
I care. I'm sorry. I'm joking.
No, you plug all your stuff all the time.
No, I love you. I love you. Oh, well, we're off to a good start. The Red Wings extended their win streak to 5, sweeping the Western Canada teams for the fourth time in franchise history, first time since 2013, 2014. And I'm sure I had another stat out there that is super impressive as well, but they beat the Calgary Flames 5-2. And I thought, Scotty, this was a really good game. I know that there are still some flaws that showed themselves in this game, but I think that for the majority, the first, I would say 40 minutes of this game, 50 minutes of this game, the Red Wings were hanging with the Calgary Flames, if not the better team. And they were taking advantage of the key moments such as power plays and penalty kills. Special teams have been killing it, man. And then just so many individual performances. We have so much to get into with this game. But first, hold on. I got to do this. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Before I forget, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Scotty, reel me in. Wrangle me in right now, man. Where are we beginning with this conversation? Should we start with Maata?
I'm not reeling in sugar, okay?
I'm jacked, man.
This is a dub. This is a big boy dub. I'm pumped. I'm amped. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure I've wanted to win a singular hockey game more in a very long time. I was amped, dude. I am so pumped right now. You know what? That in the hunt graphic, they're climbing, okay?
Stop.
The Wings are climbing, Brian. I hate to break
dude.
it to you. They're climbing.
Don't say that.
Buyers?
I'm
playing.
No,
I'm not going that far.
No.
Yet. But that's a conversation, maybe, if they win a couple of more games.
They are 2 points out of the last wild card spot now, with 3 games in hand on the Islanders and the Capitals, 4 games in hand on the Panthers. The only team they don't have any games in hand on is the Buffalo Sabres, who has 1 game on hand on them, who they are now 2 points ahead of because they played tonight and Sabres did not. So they are in a really good, I said it yesterday, they have the best point percentage of any team on the outside looking in. They are super close to being back on that playoff picture, and that terrifies me, Scotty, because I'm afraid to believe.
I'm also afraid to believe.
Because our expectations, man, what were they?
They were just on the outside looking in.
That was, and right now is where they're at.
We're doing the thing.
They're doing the thing, but doing the thing also means like, oh man, does that, like when they are on just the outside looking in, it means you're looking in and you're going, could we be in there? And that is exciting and terrifying.
I'm going to get you out of there.
I understand. Don't get it twisted. They're on this 5-game win streak and it's fantastic, but like at even strength, they're still getting, outplayed.
Yeah, I don't think it. I mean, like you, I think were a little more bullish even than I was. I don't think the Wings really at any point in this game were had enough momentum where I was considering them like the better team, but I don't really care either. Like I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer. This is a W5. I don't care. I don't care.
And see, so here's the thing too, is that this is one of those games where, so we talk a lot about the Corsi for percentage and the expected goals for percentage. And a lot of times this team at even strength does not perform that well. And yes, by the game's end, the Calgary Flames dominated those metrics. But that really didn't begin to swing heavily in that direction until the last 10 minutes of the third period, where the Red Wings were up 5-2, and on the second half of a back-to-back, so they took their foot off the pedal a little bit. Should they have done that? No. But that's what happened, and the
We
Calgary
talked
Flames...
about it yesterday, man.
Yeah.
They had... There's no way the Red Wings should have won this game. Like, everything that could have possibly been stacked against them just situationally was, and comfortable
they did.
victory.
A comfortable victory. And that comes because of individual performances and special teams popping off. I have a long list of notes.
Power play was awesome.
Accolades to give in this game. And let's start with the power play, man. They went, 2 for 3 in this game? 2 for 4 in this game. They've had a power play goal, at least one in every single game of this win streak.
Power play Bert?
Dude.
Even strength Bert? Bert?
That top line is going to get its whole dedicated, monologue from, I'm sure, both
Bert
of us.
Right now? Heater, brother.
But the power play is clicking on all cylinders. This win streak is not possible without the power play, without the special teams performing as well as it has been. Because of the fact that we've mentioned at 5-on-5, this team does get outplayed. It's the special teams that's carrying this team right now, and that is a fantastic thing. I think Ken Daniels said that in the last 5 games, the power play is 8 for 18. That is incredible.
Yeah. Insane.
And then the penalty kill in this game went 2 for 2. As their numbers continue to rise, this team's this is what we saw at the beginning of the season. The 5-on-5 play is not quite there, but the special teams is excelling. And right now, this team seems to have reclaimed that magic that was winning them games. Like, I was using the excuse in the game against Vancouver, and the game against Edmonton that they ran into bad goaltending. Vlader's not a bad goalie. He's not. He's got good numbers on the season, and you put 5 past him, mainly because your special teams kicked ass. I loved it. I loved this game.
I did too, man. I really did. And I think when another thing that in the last couple of games has been really apparent, not as much in the Vancouver games, just because those were just, we said it a billion times, abysmal goaltending by the opponent, but the blocked shot numbers in the last 2 games noticeably have spiked. If you look at Edmonton, block shots were 19-4 in favor of the Wings. And in this game, they were 23-9 block shots. Just doing the dirty work, getting down there. Obviously, we've had our fair share of injuries this season due to that. But at the same time, you got to do what you got to do. And we're on a W5, baby.
And so it's really interesting, too, is because Corsi, when you look at that number, accounts for shot attempts that are blocked. Right. So it's a little bit disingenuous, which is why people use expected goals for. It's a little bit disingenuous to show you how good the defense is. Like, oh, you were out there for 30 Corsi against, well, you blocked 6 shots. There was on the penalty kill that began the third period where the Red Wings are up 4-2, which, by the way, the Red Wings are undefeated when leading after 2. Undefeated in regulation, at least. They're like 16-0-2 when they're leading after 2, which I did not know. And the Flames don't have a single regulation win when trailing after 2.
Oh,
so that was written in stone to begin with. Beauty indeed. But they started the third period with that penalty kill, and Ben Sherratt made 2 crucial blocked shots in that penalty kill. And there's so many accolades to give in this game. I think Ben Sherratt's play on this win streak has definitely picked up. It's definitely taken a notch up.
I agree.
He's been blocking a ton, even just on that, so many blocked shots. I remember the first game against Calgary, he had 6 blocked shots. So he's not afraid to put his body on the line. And I think that everyone is starting to build on this confidence. I mean, Scotty, who else? I mean, obviously we have the entire top forward line to talk about, which I think we should probably say for segment 2 at this point. But who else in this game that stood out to you as holy cow, they're popping off?
I think we should just go to break now and then do that because I want to talk about Bert so bad.
Okay, we will do that. But first, I got to talk to you guys today about Built Bar. Looking for a delicious treat, but don't want all the fat and calories, then you got to try Built Bar. We just got through the holidays, and I know my goal is to eat a little bit healthier. Don't ask me if I had pizza rolls today because the answer would be yes. If you're like me and you want to eat healthier, don't eat pizza rolls. Eat Built Bars. You won't regret it. There's only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein, and I mean, guys, they taste just like a candy bar. It's almost unfair. They got unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. And right now, if you want to get a box, you don't just have to go to the website. You can do that. Viable option.
Walmart, Sam's
Club.
Boom.
Boom. You get a 4-bar box from Walmart, cookies and cream, double chocolate, and coconut puffs. Go to Sam's Club and get a 13-bar box. Because if you go to Sam's Club, you buy in bulk, and then your price per ounce is cheaper. I learned that from having a smart girlfriend. Brownie batter and churro are the flavors at Sam's Club. You will thank us later. So make sure you go to built.com, you go to Sam's Club, or you go to Walmart. You won't regret it. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. We're talking about the 5-2 win over the Calgary Flames on the second half of a back-to-back with your backup in net. And we talked about how this couldn't have happened without the special teams. But let's be honest, Scotty, this also could not have happened without the top line of Dominik Kubalik, Dylan Larkin, and Tyler Bertuzzi popping off. And I'm gonna toss it over to you real quickly. But before I do that, I just want to say Dominik Kubalik must have heard me walking around all day tossing out slander. Everyone I talked to, I was like, Kubalik's been, on a dry spell lately. Vrana deserves to get in the lineup, give him some ice time. If you got to scratch anyone, scratch Kubalik. Then he goes out there and scores 2 goals. It's almost like that was a personal attack on me, and I'm actually okay with it. But anyways, Scotty, Tyler Bertuzzi, take the floor.
I thought this was Bert's best game of the year, to be completely honest with you. I thought that he played a incredibly on-brand Bert game, and he did exactly what was asked of him and what is needed from him on a night-to-night basis. I thought that his positioning consistently was stellar, and I thought that on the power play, he looked stellar. I mean, the goal was beautiful. The apples were beautiful. 3-point night. This was, I don't even think it's close. I think this was the best Berg game of the year. And it was so nice to see him not like force anything, not try and be something he's not, et cetera, et cetera. Like, he just genuinely did what like good Bert games look like. And it led to a 3-point night. He looked unbelievable.
Yeah, and we haven't used hockey stat cards in quite a while, but I decided to look it up for this game because I see him on Twitter all the time. Data pulled from Dom of The Athletic and the Natural Stat Trick compiled together to try and give you guys a baseline of how these players performed. And Tyler Bertuzzi, wow. Yeah, his defensive metric wasn't very helpful, but look at that. Just almost 3.5 positive in game score for his offense and his production in this game. You talk about both. So he had a goal and 2 assists. He had a 3-point night. And the goal, which was the power play goal assisted by Robby Fabbri, was phenomenal. But the 2 assists he had were great too. It's one of those things, Scotty, and I think I mentioned it in the other day. I keep wanting to say the other day. The other game recap that these goals don't happen without Tyler Bertuzzi's forecheck. He wins a 2-on-1 corner battle and passes to Kubalik, who fires it home. He wins a battle behind the net, takes a high stick to the face in the process, and it gets buried home. So,
there was a lot of people I thought, like Dylan Larkin's forecheck, especially in the first period and a half. He was a madman on the forecheck. Like, he had 3 different pressures that turned into turnovers at one point there early on in the game. It was a really aggressive forecheck throughout the entire game, kind of on and off depending on what line it was. And I cannot say enough good things about Bert specifically. Larkin also, transitioning to that, I thought had a great game. And Kubi, man, just the dog. I love Dominik Kubalik. You need a shot, you got a shot in him. And so I appreciate the heck out of him. And this game, finally seeing him get back to scoring some goals and finding the back of the net was awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely, he put himself in the right place at the right time to fire those pucks home, without a doubt. So it's great to see Kubalik succeed, and it's great to see Tyler Bertuzzi succeed. I mean, this is one of those games where Tyler Bertuzzi looks like he is going to be like a superstar physical forward. Power forward is the word to use. Like the way he gets in the corners, this is the Tyler Bertuzzi we've been talking about. And he's been regaining his form slowly but surely over time. he looked so dang good in this game that it makes it so much harder to realize that he's going to end up likely dealt away. And that stings because,
hey, how many more wins till that's not reality?
right? Like, can we just keep pushing that off?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I don't know. That's a different. I don't even want to have that conversation right now. I genuinely don't. I just
He was
want to.
so good.
We're on W5. This is a big win. We're just gonna talk about this game and not talk about the trade deadline mayhem that is gonna be a future episode for us.
Larkin.
Yeah, great
Now,
game. Like I said, really aggressive forecheck early, kind of led up as the game went along. But once you have a 3-goal league, who really needs to forecheck too terribly much? Yeah, I thought he was great offensively as well. I mean, he is just flying. Like
yes.
the last couple of weeks, man, he really is just flying. Who else, dude? Oh, I thought he didn't play very much. I think he only played 10 or 11 minutes, but I thought Sonny looked fantastic.
Yes.
Like
The entire fourth line.
yeah, dude. I thought he looked incredible. And like that was there are few bottom 6 players, and this is not supposed to be like a disrespectful thing, but there are a few bottom 6 players that you look at and you're like, "Oh, wow, like that dude's making an impact." Like very like a noticeable, like it's standing out. Oh my goodness. I know that dude's making an impact on the ice right now, and Sonny in this game was absolutely that. Had a few attempts in front of the net, was wreaking havoc in front of the net, using the body. Had a couple of really nice passes as well. I thought Sonny had a fantastic game.
You know, it's nutty when your top line and your fourth line are the teams that are topping the hockey stat card
Right.
chart. I mean, Sundqvist, Suter, and Zadina. I thought, and the way you saw Sundqvist is how I saw Philip Zadina. I thought, and I've been watching Philip Zadina with a magnifying glass because I've been trying to get proven right by him. Like, I'm like, please prove me right. I was right on Rasmussen. I'm trying to go 2 for 2 here with Zadina. He had a great off puck game again. His off puck game has been phenomenal, constantly putting himself in the right position, forcing turnovers, and taking advantage of giveaways. But then he also finally got on the score sheet in this game by feeding the pass to Suter, who buried it home for the 5th goal. And he almost nearly had the prettiest goal of his career.
Nearly.
Made a beautiful move, and then it bobbled off of his blade, which is just very Philip Zadina-like, unfortunately. But I thought he had a phenomenal game. I think that entire fourth line had a phenomenal game. And like,
Zadina did have maybe the most egregious trip I've ever seen in my life.
he went
Like,
for
if
it.
I was to rank the most obvious tripping calls in the history of hockey, that might be number 1. That being said, I do agree with you. That was just a funny moment in that game. But yes, I agree with you. He looked really good defensively. And look, he's really he's such a conversation. Like he is good with the puck on his stick. Like he's a good passer.
He's good with the puck off his stick.
Right. Yeah. 100%. It's just, it keeps coming down to, how often he's going to be able to put the puck in the back of the net.
Yep.
I thought he was good. I thought Andrew Kopp wasn't, a lot of times we've been talking about him kind of being, I don't know, maybe invisible might be too dramatic of a word, but I thought in this game he was pretty noticeable as well. And like we're talking about all these, like positive individual performances, and like there were a lot, but like the defense still did like what the defense does. Like this wasn't a masterclass team defensive performance.
See, and I agree, but I also disagree a little bit in this instance because through the first 2 periods, I shared the heat map, and let's see if I can make it filter it to. No, I can't. I wish I could filter it through the periods. Because through the first 2 periods, there were almost no Calgary Flame shots from inside the hash marks.
For sure.
All of the Calgary Flame shots had come from beyond the hash marks towards the blue line. And that is that indicates incredible defense. I stand by that. I think the 3rd period, once they scored the 5th goal, they just let up on the gas, and that's how you ended up with this heat map. Like, yes, in total, you got outshot pretty heavily, but I think that 3rd period probably had a lot to do with it. See if I can.
agree. I don't disagree with anything you've said about that. My point is just that this was not a game where throughout you were like, oh wow, like the Wings have all the momentum here, and look, like the Calgary's not getting any shots off, and the Wings are dominating possession or dominating this like 5 minute stretch or whatnot. Like that was never a thought for like anyone watching this game. But that being said, like here we are, and this was an awesome win.
Yeah, I mean, like, because this, like I said, this blob right here, right in front of the net, did not exist after 40 minutes. This
Right.
was not here after 40 minutes. This is all third period when they decided to let off the gas. And then, you know what? Magnus Hellberg had a great game
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going
thing.
with it.
Outside of one thing. And we'll talk about that when we come back. So stay tuned to Locked On Red Wings. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, what'd you make of Magnus Hellberg's game?
I thought he was great. I thought he was great. What we asked of backup goaltending this season was keep us in games. Like that was the whole point. Like early on in the season, it was like, okay, we thought we had a really good 1-2 tandem. We don't. Okay, that's fine. Ever since we've just been trying to figure out who the heck the backup goalie was going to be, it has just been constantly just don't lose us games. Just keep us in games. And this was well above and beyond just quote unquote keeping us in the game. I thought he looked stellar.
Yeah, I mean, so he only allowed 2 goals. He had a save percentage in this game of .940, which is well above what, you normally would ask of your backup goaltender. He made over 30 saves. He made 33 saves in this game. He was great. The first goal was all on him. He completely misplayed that puck. That was him.
Agreed.
But he made up for it the rest of the game. That second goal, that was on Wallman and Seider because Wallman was playing deep. Seider pinched in. A guy, Doobie, was it Dylan Doobie? Skated away with the puck, and Dylan Doobie skated away with the puck, and Dylan Larkin had to play defense and was unsuccessful. Beat him glove side. You could make the argument that maybe Hellberg was a little bit out of position with his glove. Osgood was saying that on the broadcast, but I mean you shouldn't have to face a breakaway to begin with, and there was 2 bad pinches that resulted in that. But outside of that, I thought Wallman and Seider had a pretty dang good game.
Yeah.
They didn't get any points in this, but I thought they were solid on the back end.
Yeah, for sure. I think Seider is just somebody who
I used to know.
Consistently you can feel the impact and see the impact regardless of how many points he has at the end of the night. Like you can see it on so many plays. And I thought that this game was really solid. I'm just glad to see Wallman out there, to be honest with you. And the fact that he played a good game on top of that was awesome, obviously.
Well, and that's another thing too is Wallman did play, and was it Haig was scratched, so Osterley played.
For what it's worth, I didn't think Osterley had that bad of a game either. I thought Osterley kind of stepped in and filled that role pretty nicely.
Well, this is what's nuts is, we talk, I mainly talk about all this advanced analytical stuff, but yet we're listing off players that we thought individually had really great games. So there's like clearly at times there's still a little bit of a disconnect between what advanced analytics shows and what you're watching the game and what you see. Because some of these guys who are getting hammered on the advanced analytics had great games in my eyes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we talk about that all the time. Like there's the analytics that we use here, the possession metric stuff and the shot attempt metric stuff. That's still, even though they are better than just looking at shots and whatnot. Like they're great to use. They're still not completely like every shot attempt that is going against your team while you are on the ice is not 100% your fault. And you are not 100% responsible for every shot attempt that is for your team. So like it's a great number to look at. And it definitely tells a lot more of a story than a lot of other numbers we have. But yeah, it's certainly like nowhere close to. And there's so many things you can do on the ice besides just influence shots for and shots against. Like, yeah, there's a lot more to it than just that for sure.
Absolutely. And I mean, we got to give a couple of more quick shout outs. Man, it's already 24 minutes into this thing. So obviously we mentioned Jacob Varna was scratched again. I thought for sure he'd play, but Lalone again decided to run it back. Wise move by him because they won 5-2. So I ate my words. David Perron, 700th career point on the, was it Robby Fabbri power play goal?
A beauty, yes. It was on the Fabbri goal.
And he got a lot of love from Osgood on that play to protect the puck, then squeak it out to Larkin, who fed it across to Fabbri. Robby Fabbri is on a bit of a hot streak as well. He continues to rack up power play goals, and he is just a great story. There's so many great individual stories on this season. Robby Fabbri is one of them, coming off a third ACL tear. And now I think that would be, he got a goal and an assist in this game. So I think that puts him at, he's got 11 points in 17 games played. That's pretty dang good. 6 goals, 5 assists. That's pretty awesome. So outside that, man, I think we should probably quickly mention the fact that Olli Maata got a contract extension today.
2-year, $3 million AAV.
2-year, $3 million AAV. A guy that I honestly thought was probably gone. I thought as soon as they signed him to a 1-year deal, I was like, okay, filler piece gone at the deadline. But to see him extended did come as a bit of a shock, as that's not the guy we were hoping to see come across our social media feeds as far as contract getting signed. But a guy I'm absolutely perfectly okay with in getting an extension. I mean, we talked about it when they signed him in the offseason. He's a great depth D-man who plays defensive hockey. What we couldn't have expected is his offensive production to take an uptick this season. Like, he's not breaking any records, but he's been scoring way more than we expected. For
sure. I think the who he's been paired with has certainly influenced that a lot as well. But this is great. This is a successful signing. Like, this is you bring in 1-year dudes to either trade or they prove themselves and you can extend them. And the contract extension doesn't mean that throughout the next 2 years he needs to have the exact same role he has right now. I think ideally he would become a more limited role as the contract goes along, because that means the team is getting better. So yeah, I think it's good value. He's, like you said, really solid depth defenseman, and like I just said, I think as the team continues to improve, I think ideally he moves down lower and lower into the lineup. But that's that 3 AAV. You can absolutely afford to do that, and he's been solid this year for sure.
Craziest Olli Maata cherry pick stat. You ready?
Yeah.
His Corsi for percentage at 5-on-5 when the game is tied this season is above 50%.
Wow, dude.
And his 5-on-5 Corsi for percentage when the game is within 1 goal is just a hair under 50%. But his just Corsi at 5x5 is like, basically the point I'm trying to get across is the closer the game, the more of a lockdown defender he is.
Beauty.
I told you it was a cherry pick stat.
It was. I love me some narrative ball. All right. I respect it.
Got to skew that narrative, baby. We'll talk about the implications of that signing too, because I know there's a lot of questions now with, Red Wings fans really want Wallman to be re-signed. He's a left-handed D-man. Maata's a left-handed D-man. Sherratt's a left-handed D-man.
Down in the pipeline, you got a billion of them.
Edvinson's a left-handed D-man. So, we'll talk about implications and possible implications of the Red Wings youth on a day where we have more time. But it's 28 minutes into the podcast, and the Red Wings play the Seattle Kraken to finish up the West Coast portion. We finished the Western Canada portion. Now they'll finish up the West Coast portion before going East Coast. I don't understand this road trip, how you go 4 games on the farthest stretches of the continent and then come all the way back to the East Coast to play Washington for 1 game before going home. Yeah, I don't understand that. Scheduling's weird. But they play the Seattle Kraken on Saturday at 10:30, Scotty. What do we make of this game?
I am so excited to watch Matty Beniers play hockey. Obviously we want a W6. That's first and foremost, and whatnot. But man, Matty Buckets back in was probably my favorite player when he was at U of M, and I'm very, very excited to watch him kind of carve it up there. But look, this is a team that took a step forward a lot sooner than I think everybody thought. Last year, they were really bad. They called up a few people, Matty Beniers being one of them, obviously. And then Shane Wright. So
I don't think he's with them anymore. I think they sent him
no,
back.
they sent him back down. Yeah, for sure. But like they've gotten a lot of production from a lot of people that I think is surprising people. That wasn't English, but like McCann has had a really good year. Jared McCann, like it's a solid squad, and their offense has been really, really good. One of the best offenses in the entire NHL out of nowhere this year. So yeah, they're it's a lot of high scoring games. I'll tell you that. There's been a lot of late drama in Seattle Kraken games. If you've been able to watch them out there on the West Coast this year, lot of 5-5 late in the third game winners. I'll tell you that they have a lot of goals given up. Not a very great goalie situation, and I think the worst bottom 2 penalty kill in the entire NHL. So similar to a lot of teams we've been playing, honestly, since the All-Star break, like high scoring team, but also high scoring games involved with the team. So we'll see if we can keep kind of matching momentum.
Yeah, I think momentum's definitely on your side. And while they're third in the Pacific Division and have taken a huge step forward, the Pacific Division is not as strong as the Atlantic Division. And not that you're running the gambit in the Atlantic Division, but their top point getter right now is in the 60s. Newsflash, the Red Wings have 60 points.
Right.
So, and you've proven Edmonton Oilers were first wild card, 2 points back of second in the division. That's a really tight-knit Pacific Division. Not a lot of separation, but no team really running away with it. So this is a good Seattle Kraken team, but they're not unbeatable. And they're not getting an incredible amount of offense from one guy in particular. Instead, their offense is coming spread out across their roster. Their highest,
I don't think they have anyone even really close to a point a game, do they?
It's Eberle and Vince Dunn, who both have 40 points in 54 games played. Yeah, pretty well under a point per game.
Like 35 of Dunn's points, assists too.
31.
Yeah. So they're definitely spread out there.
So, I mean, Jared McCann's got 25 goals in 51 games, so keep an eye on him. As he's definitely been a goal scorer for them this season. But goaltending wise, I mean, you mentioned some of the reasons why, but Phil Grubauer and Martin Jones are their 2 goaltenders. Grubauer's cleaning a 900 save percentage, and Martin Jones, who's played the bulk of the games, has well under 900 save percentage at 892. So defensively and in net, they're still struggling.
They're also one of the worst face-off teams in the entire NHL, which is something that the Red Wings have very quietly kind of climbed their way back into towards middle of the pack, and that's something that they were awful at early on and have thankfully slowly gotten better at. But yeah, this is a weird team. Like they score a lot of goals, but they don't have a very good power play. They have an awful penalty kill. They give up a ton of goals, and they don't win face-offs, and yet they have 30 wins.
Yeah,
like around Valentine's Day, they have 30 wins. Like that's weird, but it's been. I mean, again, they've just been kind of outscoring their opponents 5-on-5, and it's been working. So
yeah, and they're currently beating the Flyers as we record the 6-2, but the Flyers are bad.
The Flyers are bad.
Yeah, so Scotty, that's about it. Go out there, carry this momentum, and do your job. Like this is a team that you can beat. They're not unbeatable. They got 6 uniforms.
I'm taking the over. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. I don't know what the over is yet, but I guarantee it's 6.5, and I would also take it. The Red Wings.
The over's been hitting a lot in Detroit lately. Detroit lately.
Outside of the game against the Flames, the first game against the Flames, they've scored, 5, technically 4 against Edmonton, and then 5 in this game? No, 5, 6, 4.
And goals scored for every game since the last loss, if we even include the loss to the Oilers, is 7-3, 7-7, 9-7. A lot of goals scored during this during the W5.
And then there's a nice 2-1 win over the Flames back at LCA.
Correct. Yeah.
The Phillips Zadina goal game, as I like to refer to it.
He just absolutely beautifully set up. You and I would have made the shot goal. Yes.
No, I wouldn't have made the shot. You didn't see what happened in the men's league game a couple weeks ago.
You would have dislocated your shoulder, but you would have made the shot.
Puck was sitting there right in front of the goaltender, and nobody was around it. Goalie was on his ass, and I just glided. This was on my Sunday team, and I just slid on in there, super 100% confident that I was going to bury it, and I shot it. And right at the last minute, the goalie kicks his leg, goes off his blade, and goes wide.
That's tough.
That's why I don't have a goal yet with that team this year.
Well, I'm glad you're specifying. You know what? Shout out the Tuesday squad.
No, I got in trouble because I was shouting at the Tuesday squad.
Whoa! Shout out the Sunday squad. I mean, sorry,
Yeah.
the Tuesday squad gets too much love. Shout out the Sunday squad, man.
Yep. Also, one last thing. I didn't get to say it earlier, but Dylan Larkin now has 12 points in his last 6 games.
How many points do you have in this one? Just the one?
He had 3 points in this game.
Oh, yeah. What?
He had 3 assists. Where are you?
That was an awful comment. Forget I said that.
It's
so
12:30 at night.
He's now over a point a game on the season then.
By 2 points.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah.
That would give him 57 points in 55 games played or whatever it is. I don't have it. I've closed out all my tabs.
It's 2 over now though, yeah.
So
beauty.
He's got to be the top star of the week in the NHL. He's got to be.
He'll be up there. I don't know, man. There's some.
He's got to be. All right.
We celebrated when McDavid had 2 against us, dude. I don't know what to tell you. That dude's like a minus 20,000 to win the Hart.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. All right, let's end this and go to bed. So we'll be back on Monday. We'll talk about the game against the Seattle Kraken and probably do a same game preview. Same time, same place.
We ball. Thanks.
No one cares, Scotty.
Oh, okay. Have fun in the comments section. Yeah. Have fun with that one.
We had to bring back the Wii Ball because people were commenting that you weren't saying Wii Ball.
Yeah, I can't wait for your phone to blow up all day with people. Yeah, that was a smart thing to say.
I love you, buddy. We'll be back on Monday. Same time, same place. It's your team every day. Where's my mouse? There it is.